Hello, welcome to Support Students Creating Their Own Learning Content. My name is Eric Langhorst. I teach U.S. History, Technology, and Broadcasting at Discovery Middle School in Liberty, Missouri. As I started to think this week about using cell phones as a creation tool, I couldn't help but add this picture. This is our 6-year-old. She had her birthday this week, and her most prized gift that she received was this plastic cell phone, a $1 toy from the dollar store, and she takes it everywhere. She takes pictures, she takes video, and she talks on it. Even she realizes how powerful a cell phone can be in the right hands. So, this is a picture of my cell phone. I take it everywhere I go, and as I started this presentation and started thinking about creating things with mobile content, I thought a little bit this weekend about how I have used it in my own life. And I love this graphic. This is a picture of all the different devices in 1993 that you would need if you wanted a computer, you want to take pictures, talk on the phone, record things, tell the time. And of course, this is 2013. Everything is in one device. So I started to think about all the ways that I create content, and so I looked at just this past weekend what I did with my phone, and I was actually pretty amazed at all the things that I did without realizing it. I took pictures when we went to the aquarium to celebrate the birthday on Saturday. I took pictures of our kids doing everything. I watched a college football game live on my phone using an app. I took video of the birthday cake, put it on YouTube directly from my phone so that relatives in Wyoming could see it. I used a Google map to find directions to get to the aquarium. I sent and received emails throughout the weekend and throughout the days after that on my cell phone. I added something to the calendar so that I would remember later to attend. I listened to a podcast to find out about flipped learning. I scanned a book so that I could find out if that book was cheaper in the bookstore or online. And I also tweeted about an old record player that we found and purchased at a garage sale. So I did all of those things in just a couple days using a device that I carry with me constantly. So something this powerful with this many capabilities must be an amazing tool that teachers are using everywhere in their classroom. But sadly, as most of us know, cell phones are banned in a lot of schools around the country and are not welcome in people's classrooms. This has to be one of the most perplexing questions of educational technology. Why are these super powerful devices not being incorporated into classrooms? Students already have these devices. We don't have to pay for them. They know how to use them. They love them. Why are we not asking students to create content with their cell phones? There's been a couple times over the past couple years where I've been able to use cell phones with my students in the classroom. I teach U.S. history, and so one of the things I try and do on a daily basis is build connections between the content that I teach and the students. If I can do that, I know I have them hooked. So one of the things we did a couple years ago was we went down to the local museum and we looked at some of the artifacts in the museum, picked 10 of them that we thought people would want to know more about, and we recorded about a 3-minute description of each of those artifacts and then placed signs around the museum next to the artifact so that people could then dial in on their cell phone and listen to that little audio recording. So this is an amazing way for students to be able to create content with their cell phone and then also make it accessible for others and find out a little bit more about local history. Now, of course, a lot of museums are doing this today with QR codes. You could also use QR codes to place things around town, maybe create an historic walking tour. Students could create video or audio with their cell phone and then also incorporate it into a QR code tour. This is an example of how I have my students capture government in the wild. This was a picture that I took this morning as I filled up with gas. In a couple weeks when we study the Constitution, I'll ask my students to find examples of how government exists in their daily life. This is a great example of how the state is able to test the different ability at gas stations to measure how many gallons of gas you're given when you buy gas. So I encourage my students to take pictures. It makes it a lot more real for them if they're able to find visual pictures or video of governments in action, and it's a lot different than just having text. They have the cell phone on them when they're out doing things throughout their normal course of their day. Why not capture them and bring them back to class as a visual? I encourage my students to also do a lot with Google Maps when they're out and about, whether it's in the local community or in historic locations, to be able to add that to the Google map that they carry with them on their phone. And this is an example of me last summer doing a Google Hangout to talk to my wife and our daughters back home in Liberty. I was at the Jefferson Memorial and I used a Google Hangout on my phone to be able to show them the Jefferson Memorial and the beautiful sunset over the tidal basin. So there are tons of ways to engage students with mobile devices. Probably the biggest thing is just giving them the opportunity to do it. Think about your next assignment. Is there any way that you could include as a possibility for students to create a video or take pictures with their cell phone and incorporate it into the project? It's not even something that we have to do special. We can just give them an option of being able to create that content. I bet you'll be amazed at the different content that students will create and find with the device that they already carry in their pocket. It's not going to cost you anything. It's also not something you need to train them on. This is something that we can incorporate into our class with very little sacrifice on our part, and I think we're going to see some great rewards. So, if you would like to share some ideas of how your students are using mobile devices in your classroom, or you want to find out what others are doing, please join us for a Twitter chat on Tuesday, November 5th, 2013. It's going to take place between 8 and 8:45 Eastern Time. And if you want to join us on Twitter, the hashtag is #MobileEdChat. Thanks a lot, and I can't wait to hear your great ideas on November 5th.